The stars outside the ship's window looked still, like distant sparks frozen in time. Commander Jace Riven stood by the glass, hands behind his back, eyes fixed on the glowing planet ahead. Helion Prime, the heart of the Galactic Union. He had been here before. Years ago as a young captain. Back then, Earth had just joined the Union. There was hope. Now, he returned not with hope, but with a message. One that would change everything. Jace turned as the shuttle pilot's voice came over the command. "We'll be landing in 3 minutes, Commander." He nodded and picked up the small silver box on the table beside him. It contained a recording of the last distress call from Colony 7, Earth's newest settlement near the edge of Union space. The screams in the background still echoed in his mind. Among the voices was one he would never forget. Talia, his younger sister. She had been the medical officer on Colony 7. Bright, kind, always smiling. She had sent him a message just a day before the attack, saying how peaceful things were. Then silence. The colony was gone in seconds, no survivors. He had watched the footage 100 times. The attackers were fast, using ships not identified in any Union database. They left no trace, no warnings, only destruction. Jace pressed the box tight in his hand. This was why he was here. The shuttle landed gently on the council platform. The air was warm, the sky above a golden hue. Helion Prime cities rose in smooth towers of crystal and metal. Alien ships hovered silently in the distance. Delegates from dozens of species walked the paths ahead, dressed in flowing robes, armor, or in forms unfamiliar to human eyes. Jace stepped out, tall and calm in his dark blue Envoy uniform. His boots made a soft sound against the polished floor. He walked straight, shoulders firm. Eyes ahead, a small glowing orb floated toward him. It spoke in a smooth voice. "Commander Jace Riven of Earth, welcome. The council awaits." He followed it through the wide hallways, past murals of ancient peace treaties and sculptures of unity. But today Jace saw only cracks in the illusion. Peace was a mask. Behind it, fear and silence. At the grand chamber, the doors opened. Inside, the Galactic Council sat in a wide circle. Each delegate had their own platform, hovering slightly above the floor. The center of the room was empty, lit by a soft blue light. Varnek sat at the highest point, tall, pale, with deep silver eyes. He watched Jace enter with no expression. Jace stepped into the center, placed the silver box before him, and looked around. He took a breath. "Esteemed council," he said, his voice strong but calm. "I come to you not as a warrior but as a messenger of truth." The council chamber fell silent. Jace looked at them, one by one. "The truth is this. Our people are being hunted. 5 human colonies have been destroyed. One of them was my sister's." He paused, letting that sink in. "I have come to ask for action, protection, justice." The box lit up, projecting the final moments of Colony 7. The images flickered in the air. Screams, blinding light, ships attacking from the shadows. When it ended, the chamber remained silent. Jace stood tall. "Earth is your ally. If you stand for peace, then stand for us." He stepped back. No one spoke. Varnex leaned forward, his voice soft. "Thank you, Commander. The council will discuss." Jace's jaw tightened. So that was it. No promise, no anger, just delay. As the guards approached to escort him out, he looked back once more at the silent faces. This was only the beginning. Commander Jace Riven sat alone in the waiting chamber. The room was quiet, filled with soft lights and the low hum of machines. A tall window showed the city of Helion Prime outside, calm skies, moving airships, and distant towers. Peaceful. It made him angry. The council had taken his message. They had watched the proof. They had seen his pain. And yet, they said nothing. The door slid open. A tall figure entered. Kale of the Seren, a friend and former ally. Kale was from a waterborne race, with smooth blue skin and deep black eyes. He moved with calm grace, his long coat brushing the floor. "They sent you?" Jace asked, standing. Kale nodded. Varnex asked me to deliver the council's decision. Jace crossed his arms. Let me guess. They need more time. Kale hesitated. They voted. The result is no immediate action. Jace's face hardened. So Earth bleeds, and they sit in silence. Kale stepped closer. There is fear, Jace. The other species worry that acting too soon could start a galactic war. They want more proof, a deeper investigation. They have proof, Jace snapped. I gave them everything. That colony was wiped out. Hundreds dead. My sister. He stopped, his voice catching. He looked away. Kale placed a hand on his shoulder. I believe you. But belief doesn't move the council. Only politics does. Jace stepped back. So they're afraid of upsetting their balance. Better to let humans die quietly than risk their trade deals and treaties. Kale didn't argue. His silence said enough. I came here for help, Jace said quietly, not for excuses. Kale sighed. There's talk. Whispers in the corridors. Some believe these attacks are more than random. Some even think the council knows more than they admit. Jace narrowed his eyes. You think they're hiding something? I think, Kale said carefully. You should be careful who you trust. The orb that guided Jace earlier floated back into the room. Commander Jace Riven, it said. The council thanks you for your presence. You may return to your quarters. Further communication will be sent in time. Jace stared at it, then nodded once. I'll wait, he said coldly. But not for long. As he walked out of the chamber, his mind raced. The council had chosen silence. But he would not. If they would not act, then he would find out why. Because Earth needed answers. And Jace was running out of patience. Jace stood on the balcony of his guest quarters, high above the glowing streets of Helion Prime. The city below was quiet. Lights shimmered across towers, and airships moved silently between platforms. It looked like peace, but Jace knew better. Inside his room, a communication screen blinked. He stepped back in and tapped the panel. The image of Admiral Kyra Hale appeared. Her short gray hair and sharp eyes filled the screen. She didn't smile. Commander Riven, she said. We received your report. And your silence since then. I had nothing new to tell. Jace said flatly. The council voted to delay action. They're calling for further investigation. No support, no defense fleets, nothing. Admiral Hale's eyes narrowed. That's not good enough. Earth is on edge. People are afraid. If the Union won't help, we have to prepare for war alone. Jace lowered his voice. We're not ready for a war. Not without knowing who the enemy is. Then find out, Hale said. Because we can't afford another lost colony. The screen went dark. Jace stood still for a moment, fists clenched at his sides. A soft knock echoed at the door. He turned. Kale entered, his face unreadable. I heard the council is done with you. Jace gave a short nod. For now. Kale looked around the room, then back at Jace. There are files. Hidden files. Council-level security. I've heard whispers about them. About early warnings, intercepted signals, even sightings of ships matching the ones that attacked you. Jace stepped forward. You're telling me they already knew? I don't know for sure, Kale said. But I know where those files might be. Kale's voice dropped to a whisper. Sector Hall B9, under the Central Data Core. It's off-limits to all non-council members. You'll need access codes. Do you have them? Kale hesitated, then held out a small black chip. You didn't get this from me. Jace took it, sliding it into a hidden pocket. Why are you helping me? Kale looked him in the eye. Because I believe you. And because if the council is lying, we all deserve to know. Jace nodded once. Then I'll find the truth. That night he left his room in silence. No weapons. Just the chip and his mission. The halls of Helion Prime were quiet, but cameras watched every turn. He moved quickly, careful not to be seen. As he approached the door to Sector B9, his heart pounded. He inserted the chip. The door unlocked with a soft hiss. Inside, Rows of dark consoles lined the walls. Lights blinked, and soft hums filled the air. He approached the main console, placed his hand on the reader, and the screen lit up. Thousands of files appeared. Restricted logs, intercepted signals, coded messages. What he found made his blood run cold. The Council had known. There were warnings, sightings, even early reports from scouts. The enemy ships had been spotted weeks before the first human colony was destroyed. The Council chose to keep it quiet. No action, no warning, no help. They had lied, and people had died. Jace backed away from the screen, his breath heavy. He wasn't just dealing with silence. He was dealing with betrayal. Jace sat in the dark corner of his quarters, staring at the small screen in his hand. The stolen files flickered silently in front of him. Every line of data was a piece of truth the Council had hidden. The first file showed a scout report from a patrol ship 3 weeks before the first human colony was attacked. The ship had spotted a strange fleet near the outer rim, unmarked vessels with high-speed engines and unknown weapons. The report had been flagged, then locked. The second file was worse. A secret meeting note. Veranex and a few top counselors had discussed unknown activity near human territory. They had voted not to inform Earth. The reason was clear in Veranex's own words. Human reaction is too emotional. We must avoid panic. If this is a true threat, we will act. Quietly. Jace clenched his jaw. They called it panic. He called it loss. His people hadn't panicked. They had died. He copied everything onto a secure drive. He would bring this to the Council floor, expose the truth, and force them to act. The door buzzed. Jace hid the drive and opened it. Kale stepped inside, eyes scanning the room. You found it, Kale said quietly. Yes, Jace replied. They knew. They saw it coming and did nothing. Kale didn't look surprised. I thought so. But hearing it still hurts. Jace stood. This changes everything. I'm going to show it to the Council. Kale shook his head. That won't be easy. If they know you broke into Sector B9, they'll try to silence you before you speak. Let them try, Jace said. They've already taken my sister. I won't let them take the truth. Kale's voice softened. And if they still refuse to act? Jace paused. His answer came low and clear. Then I'll do it without them. Kale nodded. I'll stand with you. The two men sat and planned through the night. Timing, delivery, backup. They knew the risks, but the galaxy needed to hear the truth. Jace stared out the window one last time before sunrise. The stars looked closer now. Brighter. Or maybe his vision had sharpened. He had a purpose, and soon the entire Galactic Council would face it. Tomorrow he would speak again, but this time they wouldn't ignore him. This time he had the truth. Morning light poured through the high windows of the Council Tower. Helion Prime looked as calm as ever, but inside Jace Riven's chest, a storm was building. He stood in front of the mirror, tightening the collar of his uniform. His eyes looked tired, but sharp, focused. He slipped the small data drive into his sleeve. Today wasn't a mission. It was a line in the sand. The message from Earth still echoed in his mind. If the Union won't protect us, Commander, we must be ready to protect ourselves. There was a quiet knock at the door. Kale stepped in, his face tense. They know something's coming, he said. I heard Varnex called for a security sweep of the lower levels. Too late, Jace replied. I already have what I need. Kale nodded slowly. Are you ready? Jace looked him in the eye. I don't need their permission, but I do want them to hear the truth. All of it. The council chamber was full. Delegates filled their platforms, floating in silent rings above the center. Some looked bored. Others watched Jace with open suspicion. Varnex sat high in his seat, his hands folded, face unreadable. Jace stepped into the center once again. No grand introduction, no welcome this time. He raised his voice just enough to fill the room. Counselors, when I first stood here I asked for help. I brought you evidence. I begged for support. You said you needed time. You said you needed proof. He pulled the drive from his sleeve and held it up. Now I have it. Varnex leaned forward. Commander Riven, this is highly irregular. Jace ignored him. A projection lit up the air above him. Images, files, meeting logs, video clips, everything he had found. Gasps filled the room as the words spoke for themselves. Human reaction is too emotional. Do not inform Earth. Delay action until threat is confirmed. The truth was out. Jace's voice cut through the silence. You knew. And you did nothing. While our people burned, you sat here in comfort. In silence. This is not peace. This is betrayal. A few delegates murmured. Some looked away. Others stared in shock. Varnex stood slowly. His voice was cold. This information was obtained illegally. It cannot be used in formal debate. Jace looked up at him. Calm and steady. Then I'll speak plainly. If the Union won't defend Earth, Earth will defend itself. Gasps spread across the chamber. We will not wait. We will not beg. And we will not be silent. If this is the cost of peace, then I reject it. Varnex's eyes narrowed. You would go to war. Jace nodded. To protect my people. Yes. A silence followed. Deep, heavy. Then a few delegates stood and walked out. Others sat frozen, unsure what to do. The chamber had never felt so fragile. Jace turned and walked away, the light of the projection still glowing behind him. He had said what needed to be said. Now the galaxy had to choose. Jace walked out of the council chamber, his steps slow but firm. The wide hallway was quiet. No one followed him. No guards. No aides. Just silence. He had made his stand. He had spoken the truth. Now, he waited for the world to respond. The sun was setting over Helion Prime. From the top platform, the city looked golden, almost peaceful. But Jace knew better. Peace built on silence wasn't real. It was a mask, and today he had torn it off. He returned to his quarters and closed the door behind him. Inside, Kale was waiting. You did it, Kale said. Jace nodded. The truth is out. They can't hide it anymore. Kale looked at him carefully. Some delegates left the chamber. Others just sat there, stunned. But Varnex won't let this go. He'll fight back. He might even try to spin the data as lies. I don't care, Jace said. I didn't come here to win a debate. I came here to defend Earth. He walked over to the comm panel and opened a private channel. After a short pause, Admiral Hale's face appeared again on the screen. Commander, she said. Her tone sharp. What have you done? Jace answered without hesitation. What had to be done? The council is broken. I showed them proof of their silence. I told them Earth won't wait. Admiral Hale looked at him for a long moment, then gave a slow nod. We've already begun mobilizing defense fleets, she said. Public support back home is rising. The people are with you. Good, Jace replied. Because the Union may turn against us. We need to be ready. Kale stepped beside him. Not everyone in the Union will side with Varnex. Some will remember what you said today. Admiral Hale looked at the alien, then back at Jace. Are you staying on Helion Prime? No, Jace said. I've done what I came to do. I'm returning to Earth. Kale gave a small nod. Then we'll be waiting. The screen faded to black. Jace stood in silence for a moment. Kale broke it. You made them listen. That's more than most ever do. Now they'll have to decide, Jace said. Truth or fear, action or silence. The stars outside the window began to appear. Quiet, distant. A soft chime rang through the room. A message from the Union. Jace opened it. Commander Riven. Your diplomatic access is revoked. You are ordered to depart Helion Prime within one cycle. He read it once, then smiled faintly. They're scared, he said. Good. Kale placed a hand on his shoulder. You're not alone in this. I know, Jace said. And that makes all the difference. He turned to pack his things. There was nothing left for him on Helion Prime. He had come as a messenger. Now he left as a soldier. The next battle wouldn't be in a council hall. It would be in the stars. The shuttle rose from the platform with a low hum, lifting Jace away from Helion Prime. He stood inside the cabin, watching the glowing city shrink beneath him. The towers, the council chambers, the golden sky, they all faded behind him, growing smaller, more distant. It was done. He had spoken the truth. He had challenged the most powerful leaders in the galaxy. Now the future of Earth, and maybe the entire Union, would change. The pilot glanced back. "We'll reach orbit in 5 minutes, Commander." Jace nodded and turned toward the stars ahead. They seemed closer now, brighter, or maybe he was just seeing them differently. He sat down and opened a small screen on the wall. Messages were already coming in. Some from Earth, some from allies he didn't even know he had. "We support you. You spoke for all of us. You're not alone." But others were colder. "You've caused division. Earth should be removed from the Union. You've started something that cannot be undone." Jace read each one carefully, then closed the screen. The truth was never easy, and it was never safe. But it was right. He reached into his bag and pulled out a small photo, old, creased at the edges. His sister Talia, standing in front of a medical tent on Colony 7, smiling wide. Her joy still felt real, even now. "I did it, Talia," he whispered. "They won't forget you. They won't ignore us." The shuttle broke through the upper atmosphere, and the stars surrounded them. In the distance, the shape of Earth's fleet began to appear. Sleek, powerful ships forming in high orbit. They were preparing. War hadn't been declared, not yet, but the silence had broken. Lines were being drawn. Choices were being made. Jace stood tall. Peace was not something you waited for. It was something you defended. The stars ahead were full of unknowns. But for the first time in weeks, Jace felt clear. He was going home. Not as a diplomat, but as a soldier, as a warning. And Earth would be ready.